Our guest today is Craig Keegan, widely known as the Big Exit Architect. Craig has spent more than 2 decades helping founders, business owners scale, create value, and prepare for successful exit. Throughout his career, he's captured more than $2 million in operational synergies on a 16-site Burger Cheese and Lion Burger integration, secured over $15 million in government project funding, delivered more than $315,000 in operational savings in 14 days for Reggie's Aged Care, helped scale a $5 million business towards an $85 million trajectory, and is actively involved in roll-up partnerships across Melbourne, Auckland, Dallas, Houston, and London. Today, Craig works with founders to help them build businesses that aren't just successful today, but valuable tomorrow. Craig, welcome to Opportunity Economy. It's great to have you with us. How are you today?
Well, thank you so much for that amazing introduction. You put it all together like that. It sounds pretty nice, doesn't it? I am terrific, and it is a pleasure to be here and be amongst your amazing people that you have in your network. Thank you.
Thanks for that. So, Craig, for those joining us today, tell us a little about your journey. What led you to mergers and acquisitions and helping founders prepare for successful exits?
Oh, they're two very big questions. I fell into mergers and acquisitions. It was an accident, okay? There was no big plan. It just happened, as does life. But that was about 25 years ago. So a long, long time ago. And since then, I've been doing one after the other of factories around the world or aged care facilities, whatever it takes, really, because businesses are all pretty much the same. They all have the same 14 pillars to work on. You've got your finance, your HR, your payroll, your IT, your AI. You've got all the same pillars in every business. And there's only a small percentage of businesses from whatever type that vary. So you can take 80% of every business and it's all the same. It's that extra 20% that you have to get to know, love, and really understand. So I've been doing that for 25 years, mainly for other people, the big four accounting firms and the like. But a couple of years ago, I started to do it for myself. And one of the things mantras that I have is I solve your problems, massively reduce your expenses, and make your millions. And that's a good start to any conversation, I hope.
Yeah, very correct. Very correct. The opportunity economy itself, this series is called the opportunity economy. When you hear those words, what do they mean to you as someone who has worked with founders, across multiple industries? Where do you think founders are missing opportunities today?
I think founders are falling in love with their ideas too much, and they're not looking at where can they actually make money? What are people actually prepared to pay for? If you fall in love with your idea, you're going to be focused in on that, and people aren't going to be able to talk you out of it. Focus in on what the end goal is. And like me falling into M&As, you may very well fall in to something extraordinary that is going to push you to that 7 or 8 figures, and you'll love. But if you stay loving your idea and pushing your idea no matter what, that's where I think founders fail the most. And my godson, I was helping him move house, and we're in the car moving stuff to his next place. I said to him, what sort of business, if you were out going to get a business, set up a business or whatever, what sort of business would you choose? And we had a bit of a chat. I said, okay. I said, let me get you started. I said, you want a business that's 5 years old? I said, that's the benchmark, 5 years old. He said, why? I said, well, most businesses fail to get to 5 years. Most fail to get to 1 year, but most fail to get to 5 years. if you're at 5 years and you've got a business at 5 years, then you can classify yourself as successful. He said to me, but what if they've got a bad reputation? I said, I don't care. I said, they've made it to 5 years. They're doing something right. I said, whatever they're doing something right. I said, you can go into that business and you can tweak out the bad bits, but they are doing something right. So the first measure is 5 years of any business. If you want to look at a business and get into a business, start by filtering out everything younger than 5 years and going for ones that are 5 years or more. That would be my biggest recommendation to anybody getting into business.
Right. You're very correct. And looking at your skill and your expertise, one of the things that you really tell business owners is, most times you tell them to build your business to exit. So why do you really think it's a very important thing for founders to have at the back of their mind when they're building their businesses?
Well, I've got to love the Buddhists, by the way. The Buddhists are great because they believe in reincarnation. Yeah. That's terrific. The rest of us are not blessed like that, I'm afraid. So we are all going to exit ourselves at some stage off this mortal platform. The same as your business. Your business will one day exit, and you don't want to be the downfall of your business. For example, you walk out, you get hit by a bus, you get divorced, you get ill, you have a disaster of some variety. All of those play into a business and affect the employees of the business, affect the suppliers of the business, the clients of the business. You have a big effect on a business. So you need to plan for all types of exits. It's not just one exit. You've got to plan for all those types of exits. Then, if you're lucky, you should plan to sell the business, to get out of the business. You might even want to keep part of the business even, but you might want to sell it. There's so many different ways of exiting. In actual fact, I did a great video on it, and I found 16 ways of exiting a business. Mm. Do you have a plan for all 16? You need a plan for all 16 because you don't know. Well, I don't have a crystal ball anyway. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or next month. So you need to have a plan. And the best plan that you can possibly have is to build, grow, scale, and to make yourself redundant. One of the major things that I do when I'm ready with a business, when it's ready and all the numbers are stacking up and all the processes and the systems and the IT, all that sort of stuff is all stacking up. It is mandatory in my book that all the founders at the same time have to go on a 5-week holiday. And they say, but we can't do that. Well, yes, you should be able to do that. If you can't do that, then there's something wrong with your business. And we need to work on it together. So 5-week holiday, if your business doesn't grow in that time frame, your business is not a good business. It's not ready at this stage, and we need to work on it because we need to prepare it so that you can have those holidays. You can exit your business for the maximum multiple possible. Now, 70% of businesses never actually sell. That's shocking. 70%. What happens to those 70%? Well, they just close up shop. Right. See you later, vendors. See you later, customers. See you later, employees. And some of those suppliers, by the way, are not getting paid because they've done their money investing in and giving you credit. So 70% of businesses never exit. Now, my personal belief is that the other 28% sell their business, exit their business for only less than 20% of their true value. So that means only 2% are actually exiting for the value that they deserve and they have earned. Now, those 28%, they might very well be celebrating.
Right.
Me, it's like driving a stake through my heart. It really is. Because I know they left 80% of the value of their business on the table and they exited.
Mm.
And their business broker, their salesperson for their business, they're pretty happy because they get their 20% in their back pocket, their 10% in their back pocket, whatever you've negotiated. But you lose 80% of your business. That's scary.
Craig, in that 80%, is there something they are not, paying attention to in their negotiations? Is there something they are missing out on?
It is. People tell me all the time when I talk to them, they say, "Oh, I'm not looking at exiting right now."
Okay.
Oh, thank goodness you're not, because you're not ready. So I'm wrapped that you're not thinking about it now. What we need to do is we need to get together and stick in a plan, and architect that plan so that you can exit. Because if you're selling your business in the next year, remember that 30% that do sell, if you're selling your business in the next year, you're going to be losing a heap of money because you haven't got your numbers right. You haven't got your proposition right to the market because you haven't shown the history of earnings, the history of your client saturation even. If you've got, let's say 70% of your clients are narrowed down to 4 or 70% of your business is narrowed down to 3 or 4 clients, then that's not a business.
Right.
You're in severe risk. If you've got a business and you've set it up for tax purposes to minimize your tax, well, that probably means you've got your holiday house in your business, you've got your Mercedes in your business, all of that sort of stuff. Well, no, you're not going to get a good value for your business because of that. Have you got the property? Have you got the business and the property separated from your business or not? If you've got them combined, then you're going to get a lower value for your business. So there's all these different things that you need to take into account. To exit a business, you need a minimum of 3 years, up to 5 years. You need to be planning 3 to 5 years in advance if you're going to exit a business.
And so that you picked up a business of that was $5 million at the time, and then over time it was the trajectory was towards $85 million. What did you do differently from when they started the business? What were you seeing that probably the business owner was not seeing?
Systemization and scaling was the key there. It was a beauty product. The company was a beauty product. I know that's not my usual style, but anyway, it's a business. I said before, they're all the same, aren't they? Sure. I don't care. So it was a business. They were making stuff here in Australia, whereas we could get bottles in China for 1/10 the price. They were paying huge taxes from sending it to Australia to the US, whereas if they got it manufactured in a particular state in the US, those tariffs would reduce and they could sell it for a greater profit. Setting them up on Etsy so that they can sell into the UK market. Setting up the Canada. That was all a big key there to scaling their business. And then it came down to simple business practices. We needed a good marketing team. We needed the right staff. They were running on a staff of 5. We upped the staff to 15. And we put in the right people. We brought in a copywriter. We brought in someone to manage all the clients. It was a matter of setting it up so that it could scale. And they were amazing. They were so receptive to it. It was a business that was 4 years old. First year, they did 300K profit, which is got to be happy with that as a first year.
Yeah.
Second year, they did 1.2 million profit. Third year, they did 3.6. I came in fourth year, 5 million. And then in 2 years' time, the goal was to exit for 85.
Wow.
The business no longer exists, but I do know that the brand is still in Chemist Warehouse in Australia, which is the largest chemist and pharmacy provider in Australia and Australasia, really. And they have also now stretched out to the UK. So that company has now taken or been taken by a monstrous great brand like that. That business, I actually worked for Chemist Warehouse. When I started, they were a $1.8 billion company. I worked there for 2 years. And when I left, they were an $8 billion company. They're now in excess of $65 billion company.
That's some real numbers right there.
So it's and Chemist Warehouse, that one there, they had certain owners owning stores, and then they had a bit of a mixture between company and franchise, and we brought it all back into one, packaged it up so that they could merge with another large health retailer and build their base, build their core. But they were a very clever organization. I've worked for more than 100 organizations. This organization, Chemist Warehouse, was the most brilliant organization I've ever worked for. Their IT department was cash flow positive. Now, normally IT departments are an expense to any business. Not Chemist Warehouse. Theirs was cash flow positive. Genius, the way that they did it. Everything had to pay for itself, get sponsorship. It was a brilliant organization, very, very clever. Their holding company was, I've forgotten, AMS now, but the essence of it was that they took out all the back end. They put all the back end into one business so that they could plug whatever brands they wanted into it. So Chemist Warehouse had My Chemist, My Beauty, Chemist Warehouse, a whole heap of different brands, but they're all run by this administration service.
That's smart.
Because they got the back end right, and then everything just plugged in. So that's what you've got to do. Again, many businesses, what they do is they try and do this and that, and they plug in all these different things. Well, no, get one product. Get one product working. This beauty company that I was talking about, 3 products. That's all they had. 3 products. $3.6 million profit. 3 products. In 3 years, that's 4 years, $5 million profit with 3 products. Get your systems right. Focus in on something, make that work. Now, you, as an example, you do event management and organizations for events for yourself and for others. That's it, really. Focusing in on one thing that you do really well. Now, as an example, if I were to look at you and look at you exiting in the future, what would I think? I would think, okay, event management. That means you've got sponsors. That means that you've got monstrous data lists of people that you're communicating with. It means that you're dealing with high quality people, which is, thank you for having me on, by the way. You're dealing with high quality people, and you've got those on your other list as well. You've got all this happening. So you're developing an amazing asset there. What do you do with that? You could pass that, you could go to market and say, hey, look, I'm up for sale. and I will go off to a large event organizer, a larger worldwide event organizer. I believe there was one that went belly up in the last few months as well. So
Yeah.
there is a market happening. But you could also go off to an individual, Anthony Robbins as an example, and be absorbed by him because you've got all of the Australian market lined up. So there's all different ways that you could package it up. But then, of course, what could you do yourself to scale? That's just the exiting. But what about the scaling? Well, you could take on other partners as well and take on their lists as well and combine them together to make a huge conglomerate. That's what we look at, is you've created the back end, the processes, systems for doing this. Now, how can others leverage from that? How can you make that service available for others to leverage from? That's the key, solving that problem.
Wow, that's a free coaching session. I just got Craig.
Sorry, can I take a breath now?
You're very correct. You're very correct.
Well, I'm hoping your next question is a bit simpler than that last one.
I think my next question is gonna go into events. Why should, not really why, but is it important for founders, business owners, people who are trying to do something, go to networking events? How important is networking events when it comes to building something?
Who are you? And if you're the best kept secret in the world, then you're never going to be successful, are you? You need to be out there. And the best way for people to know who you are, to see you as the leader, is for you to be seen on stage. Now, people say, oh, but I haven't been invited to go on stage. Well, I'm sorry to say, but it's a pay-for-play arrangement. Don't be shy. These people that are up on stage, they've paid to play. They've got paid to get up on stage. Most of them are not being paid to be on stage. In all honesty, they're not.
Yeah.
They have paid money to get up on stage and sell their wares and to promote themselves. And if you're not prepared to do that, then you're not going to get up on that stage. No, nobody's going to put you on stage until you can prove that you can, one, do it, and two, that you can sell something when you're on stage. Because if you can't sell something when you're on stage, then the person that's organizing it is most likely going to be taking a percentage of whatever's sold from that stage so that they can pay for the event. They can, because they've paid for all the advertising and the seats and whatever else it is. It is not cheap to put on an event. And you need to be able to demonstrate and provide confidence to the promoter, such as yourself as an example, that you are able to do this. Now, I hope I'm not going to stick my foot in my mouth here, but let me buy a house or build a dream 2.0. Well, I was looking at the agenda of an event that you're putting on in the near future, and you've got a great guy. Oh, that's you, okay? You've also got another great guy, Sahil Kakar.
Yeah.
And then I see me on that list. So I'm really looking forward to being there and to being able to add value to all your people as well.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing event. And we've kept it really small because we wanted it to be a focused, interaction-based event where attendees will have one-on-one sections with the experts. Not just, coming to listen to people talk, but you having a sit-down moment to design and structure your next 90 days action plan. So that's why we've kept it really small so that people can really get that one-on-one moment with the experts in the room. With someone like you would be able to dissect everything they're trying to do from the point of creative property investment, because I've worked with you. I know how detailed you are. I know how, how intelligent and smart you are with your decisions. So I think it's going to be an amazing event for people to attend.
It is. Now, there's many types of events. You go to these ones where it's got a seat and all the seats are jam-packed in together and there's lots of them out there. Now, that's one style. You've got another one where you've got seats jam-packed in up the back and then you've got tables up the front.
Yeah.
Now, those tables, those people, they've paid for those tables. It's not cheap to get those tables. You're looking at $5,000 to get a table like that at a lot of these events. So those are the committed people, and they're the ones that are going to make this work. They're going to be writing the notes and they're going to be taking it all on board, and then they're going to be implementing it. They are the serious ones.
Yeah.
And then you've got the round tables.
Yeah.
Where the boardroom ones, yes, where you've got 5 to 10 people. And that's not an event. That's a masterclass. It really is.
Right.
That really is where you develop the relationships between each other, between the presenters, the coaches, everybody. And that's where the stuff really happens.
Yeah.
Now, I said before, I solve your problems, massively reduce your expenses and make you millions. But I also have another one that I tell people straight off. And that is, in a 30-minute conversation, I will make you or save you 5 figures.
Yeah.
Now, you and I have chatted many times.
Yeah.
Would you think that that's a fair summation?
I agree. Yeah. Yeah.
And these presenters, maybe I shouldn't say this part because I'm really giving away secrets here. These presenters are not that smart. They're not. Why they're able to give out such amazing advice and be able to get such great results for people is because they will speak at one presentation. People will come up to them, tell them their woes and tell them solutions. They'll then move off to the next presentation. They'll take all that new knowledge that they've got from the people that they've just been talking to.
Right.
And then they will recite that back to those people because they needed that information. So they're constantly out there working with people, learning issues, then repackaging it into a systemized and logical process and passing it on to the next people.
Yeah.
They've just put themselves in a really great position to learn more rapidly and to implement that at the very next seminar, the very next presentation. It's a great scheme being a presenter. It really is.
It is.
You learn so much.
So much from people, because people have a lot of things they want to share. And I think one of the major skills is being a good listener, and then being able to actually take that information and turn it into something that people can learn from. And I think that's one major skill that presenters need to have.
It is, and that listening is a really key point. I can listen to people's discussions in a room, and by the words that they're saying about what's happening in their work, I can tell them, oh, that business isn't going to be there, or it's going to be sold, or this person's not going to be there, they're leaving. I've never walked into that business. I don't know. But a practical example of that was my son's business that he was working for. It was a multinational built out of Melbourne in Australia, but it had divisions in Ireland, UK, and the US, and Singapore. So a big multinational. It was bought out by a US company. Now, my son came home and he said, oh, we've just been taken over. They came over, they said nothing's going to change. Biggest lie ever. Why is someone going to take on a business and not change it?
That's true.
They're going to make improvements because founders can only get a business to one particular level.
Yeah.
Then they're going to reach a ceiling on their own experience. They need to exit that business and get it off to someone else who can then take it, ramp it up and take it to the next level. That's what happens with businesses. Founders can only take so far. It's very rare that a founder will be able to take 1, 2, 3, all the way up the pyramid, the equity pyramid. But anyway, my son was telling me some of the conversations, and I said, this is what's going to happen. And sure enough, it did. So you don't have to be in an organization. You don't have to know all of the people. You can just listen to what other people are saying, the words of the people that are in the business. And you know what's going to happen and where things are wrong in it. Now, there are great devices these days, and instantly your audience is going to frown when I bring this up. There are these great necklaces that record your entire day. They record all the audios for your entire day. Then you can download it and you can get a summary and you can get a task list and meeting summaries and all that for your entire day. Well, there's some ethical issues there, obviously, but used the right way, these can be enormously useful for training purposes, for diagnosis purposes of your business, because it comes down to the language. What are people saying? What are they doing? And then the other thing that I say to people is get a tripod, grab your mobile phone, stick it on your desk and face it towards your computer. And then just talk and do your business. From that, you can develop systems and processes.
Right.
That adds value to your business. So you do that, and that helps your business. Now, there's another one called, Process Planner as well. And Process Planner, it records what you're doing on your computer, and you can talk to it and tell it what you're doing and why you're doing it. It records all that. It then produces a flow chart of each of your processes that you do.
That's beautiful.
From that process diagram that it's created for you, you then have a template to pass on to your AI technician to build and automate that process for you. And because it's got the audio in there, not just the screen captures, it can do the decision making as well. Because the human is giving it guidance. Oh, if this was the case, then I would have clicked over here. But no, because I've got this, I'm clicking over here and selecting this option.
Yeah.
It maps all that out into a flowchart, which you can then pass on to your AI to automate it. Now, AI, fantastic. What a risk. How can I say both of those at the same time? Well, you need to have those flowcharts sorted out. What happens if something goes wrong with the AI? How are you going to run your business manually? You're going to run it manually by using those process diagrams that you've created. That's now the asset to your business. You can rebuild the rest of it if you've got those process diagrams. So that's what adds value to your business. Well, we're getting on with time here. I've got something I'd like to talk about, if that's okay. Can I butt in?
Yeah. We've got a few minutes left here.
When we talk about scale, I wanted to give you a bit of a demonstration of what scale actually means.
Yeah.
And a simple example that I use is a dental practice. A dental practice that is worth $1 million. Okay. So how much is the dental practice worth?
$1 million.
1 million, yeah. Now I've got 5 exactly the same dental practices.
Okay.
How much is that worth?
5 million.
No. 8 million.
Okay.
Why? Because 5 dental practices are rarer than one dental practice. To have a group of 5 that is all working and cohesive, has systems and processes, that's special. More special than one. So it's the buyers pay a premium for that. So they'll pay 8 million. Now, if we've been through that, okay. I've got 10 dental practices. How much is 10 dental practices worth?
13 or 15?
You're going in the right direction. But how about we just round it up to 25 and be done with it?
Oh, wow.
Okay, let me just go through this because I don't want to lose people here. So 10, 25 million. So 2.5 million each, yes? And yet one was worth 1 million. That's 1.5 million extra. However, out of that initial one, that 1 million one, they've probably got loans on that, haven't they? They've probably got commitments. So they're not getting, for starters, the person selling the practice is going to take 20%. So you're knocked down to 800,000 there. Then you've got to pay your loan out. So take off another 300,000. So you walk out the door with 500,000. Now, 2.5 million, you're still walking out the door with, it's a different arrangement. It wouldn't be 20% because let's say 10%. So you're making an extra 1.8 million that way. Let's move on. Let's go to 20 practices. How much do you think that's worth?
I just double it, say 40, 45, 50.
No.
Oh,
You're not coming on board. 85.
Okay.
So now each practice is worth over 4 million. And then if you do what I do, let's put together 30, shall we? That's worth 136 million. So this is what I call scale.
Yeah.
And it's about putting things together, architecting your exit, and being able to say, okay, I'm more valuable the bigger I get. Because a superannuation fund or a private equity fund, they don't want to come in and buy 30 dental practices, do they?
No.
They want to buy a package of 30 dental practices. Because if they buy 30 dental practices, they've got to go into each one and put systems and processes in place and blah, blah. What a mess.
That's true.
They buy a package of 30. They go in and they just do one single migration across. That's it. Make it easy to buy. Be special. Get your systems and processes in place, and then you will truly understand what scale is.
So from what you said now, I'll just give it a simple equation. Scale equals system.
And processes. And 5 weeks holiday. Remember, you've got to have that 5 weeks holiday.
Yeah.
That's really important, okay?
So another thing is like a founder says, okay, if I sell my business, what will I be doing for the rest of my life? do they sometimes think about that? That's a good problem anyway.
No, you're spot on there. Before I cover any of this with anybody, that's the question I ask. I talk to them and I'll say, okay, tell me, you've exited your business. Money is not a problem any longer for you. You're 2 years down the track. It's a Monday morning. It's 9 o'clock. Tell me what your day looks like. Let's work through that day. And that's the first conversation that I have with people, because there are plenty of people that have exited their business and then got lost after they've exited. And just, they've lost themselves because their phone's been going all the time. They've been busy. Nothing. Getting that 2 years down the track right is the most crucial, because then instead of becoming an exit architect, you become a pilot. You know where your destination is. Now you just have to work your way back.
That's true.
And no journey is a straight line. And you asked, how did I get into M&A? It wasn't a straight line. No journey is a straight line. But you do the course corrections. And how do you do that? You know your numbers. You know what your end plan is, what your exit plan is, and you work back as to what numbers you need all the way through. And then you achieve those numbers. You achieve the next numbers. And you just keep achieving numbers right the way through. And then it happens. That's it. It just happens. Because you've got your dashboard and you just keep ticking off those numbers.
Do you think it's also a good way for them to, let's say for someone who's sold his business, the money's my problem. Do you think it's something for them to get into something like coaching, mentoring other people to, help them build?
I know people that have done that, certainly, yes. Absolutely, I know people that have done that. There is an amazing lady over in New Zealand that has done that. And so, yes, but that may not be what they want to do.
Right.
There's a guy that I've done a podcast with, and he owned 385 HVAC businesses in the US. And he exited his HVAC business. Went out to market and he exited. Now, he actually exited to his son and his daughter-in-law. So 6 months later, his son comes knocking on his office door and says, "Hey, Dad, get out. You sold me the business 6 months ago. This is my office. Get out." That's because he didn't have anything else to do. He didn't have his exit plan sorted out, did he? Now, what they did was they'd obviously worked together building the business, and they'd worked together over the last 6 months. They set up a new business together. Because that's what you can do. You've got choices.
Exactly.
So set up a new business, but don't set it up for something to do. Set it up because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, that's a very good one.
So yes.
Thank you so much. I think we've exceeded a little bit of time, but just one last question for you, Craig. If you were to introduce me to two people that you think they should be on the opportunity economy, who are the two people that you recommend for me to network with today?
Well, first off, I want to focus in on what you've just asked there. And that is what everybody should do. Always ask, can you introduce me to two people? Because if you keep on getting introduced to two people, that expands your sphere of influence. Right. And by asking someone to get an introduction and then them doing that introduction, it also builds your profile up. That's a brilliant thing to do. So now, I think on the event management side of things, there's a couple of people I've got a lady in Sydney, and she does her sideline. Mine was, I solve your problems massively, reduce your expenses and make millions. Hers is, she has a $2 million deal. She does $2 million property deals. That's all she does, is everybody makes $2 million. That's her rule of thumb. Everybody that she does business with, $2 million. Nice. So I think she'd be a good one. and I'll come back to you on the second one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I'll come back. But a great question nonetheless. Now,
That's a
I've
good
got
one.
one other thing
Yeah.
that I have had my birthday this week,
Yeah.
and I decided to do what you were talking about just a few moments ago, and that is to help a few people out. So I
Okay.
haven't been out to market. I haven't gone out, made an offer out to the public in any fashion in over 2 years.
Hmm.
I'm going to offer to do coaching for one of your people.
Okay.
So I'm going to send you the details on that, and
Yeah.
it'll just be for one person. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
It's gonna be, yeah, that's gonna be very valuable.
well, what I can suggest, if you want to be that person, stick a note in the comments here and get back, because I'll
Yeah.
only be taking one, okay?
Okay. Coming out of the shell, coming out of the cave.
There you go. Well, I've appreciated this. This has been a fun conversation.
Yeah,
I
thank you so
think
much.
we've really covered a lot of stuff here, and I just wanted to thank you for having me on. And I thought that was the best way to do it, was to
Yeah.
help your people.
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good. Thank you so much for your time, Craig. I'm sure someone needs to, go through your coaching section. It's amazing. Craig is a very intelligent, detailed, business-oriented, well-experienced architect, big exit architect, and he will tell you how to find that big exit in your business. It doesn't matter what kind of business you're doing. Business is business, and there's always a strategy to it. So thank you so much, Craig. Looking forward to chatting with you in future. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good one.
Bye.